sometimes I think maybe it's not a good idea to have Keir Starmer as the Labour leader. I don't know why I'd come to that conclusion, but obviously this is quite offensive to some people to even consider that Keir Starmer might not be the answer to our problems. Because if you look at this story from the Sky News website, it says Jeremy Corbyn's wife Lara Alvarez in group aiming to unseat Sir Keir Starmer at next election. This is shocking. I mean, Lara Alvarez is part of the Organise Corbyn-inspired Socialist Alliance group on Facebook, which has discussed standing MPs against the Labour Party following the ban on her husband standing for the opposition. This article goes on to say, Jeremy Corbyn's wife is part of a group set up to unseat Sir Keir Starmer at the next general election. He is also discussing standing independent candidates against Labour in coming by-elections. Screenshots leaked to Sky News show an account belonging to Lara Alvarez is a member of the Organise Corbyn-inspired Socialist Alliance, OCISA, Facebook group. Further images show Ms. Alvarez's account commenting in the group, including posting "disgusting creature" on a photo of Sir Keir. Later in the article, it says that a post in the last week from group member Peter Martin suggests standing independent Labour candidates in the coming by-elections caused by the resignation of Boris Johnson and two of his allies. Labour will need to take 3,606 votes from the Tories in Uxbridge and South Ruislip and not lose any of their own votes to any candidate from the left to win. So in theory, we could possibly only need a handful of votes to scupper Starmer's chances, he wrote. Now, I'm just going to bring on Jim Breese, who is from the OCISA campaign. Jim, how are you doing?
Very well, thanks, Crispin. Thanks for having me on again.
Can I just ask you, I mean, did it come as a shock to you that you saw that OCISA's now in the making national headlines?
Well, that was the plan all along, in fact, because if we're going to have a national debate on these issues, we've got to undermine this presidential exchange of power between the rotten Tories and then the rotten Labour Party that's coming. So we always envisaged taking this to being a public campaign, but this isn't perhaps the way we'd have chosen.
Well, I mean, I did look up some of the comments that were made on social media to this story, and this is there's some criticism here. This is the criticism: selfish, hubristic, middle class chancers. If you can afford to support this, you don't mind getting the Tories in. Much more fun protesting Jeremy, isn't it? And someone else has put it, Corbynites and his wife plotting to torpedo Labour's electoral effort by aiding the Tories. They always were Tories, but it's so clear now. And then to counter that, we've got loads more actually in support of OCISA. This says, excellent news. Sky News should be covering Labour leaks and Labour files. Why are Sky News not doing more to hold Starmer to account for his continuous lies? And Ellie has written, thank you, Sky News, for posting this today. OCISA's membership has soared.
That's right. That's right. So and we've had a massive influx.
What is OCISA's membership now?
Well, we're now up to 6,280.
And these are people who have all pledged to support a campaign to unseat Starmer
from all around the country. And you know, we particularly need people from Holborn to Pancras. But the point about this is it's a national intervention in a local constituency, in the same way that Starmer is interfering in other constituencies. And we've just heard about Bolton and up in Cumbria. Starmer's interfering left, right, and centre all around the country. We can't let that happen, so we're going to interfere with his back door.
Right, and obviously, if he's got loads of people canvassing and leafleting and stuff in his constituency, he's going to have less time to go out on the all over the country, isn't he?
Yes. Well, I mean, part of this, Crispin, is it's seen the democratic process in the UK has been subverted so much that it's become a presidential race. If you are the leader of a party, you then become the Prime Minister. It's a presidential handover of power. And that must be interrupted, because if we're to achieve any of the things that we're talking about this morning in education and health, in restoring public ownership and public faith in these things, then we must interrupt the smooth transfer of power in fair and democratic way by challenging him in his constituency. Like you say, we've had a massive influx of members. It's been a very busy day yesterday. Our admins were worked their socks off, bless them. We've also got Instagram and Twitter numbers, which have increased dramatically, our followers. But that's not the core of it. The core of it is having a platform and a structure to put a candidate in place that can seriously challenge Starmer. Now, the argument that, excuse me, the argument that that would change the course of the election is in fact not, it is fallacious, because one seat is not going to make a difference in the next election. And Starmer's seat might be that one seat, but it would be historic, because it would be the first time, for example, if Labour win, that a political party has been elected to form a government without a leader. And that is what would draw the press. Now, the press are going to come for us, and we anticipate this. We anticipate that we are going to be able to show the positive socialist arguments that are there for ownership of our natural resources, ownership of our utilities, that are there for supporting the NHS, that are anti-war in nature, that are there for an ethical foreign policy. And we will be able to show those, because we would have a candidate who'll be able to argue with Starmer face to face and stop this nonsense of it being a smooth transfer of power.
Right. Well, I hope that we'll have you back on again to talk about another doubling of your membership when you're on, and possibly you'll appear on Sky TV as well soon.
Can I say this though?
Will you still come back on here after you make it on the mainstream TV? Well,
Crispin, listen, I'm going to be out of this as soon as I can be. It's not. I'm really embarrassed by the amount of attention that this has attracted. It's not for my political career. I don't want this, but it has to be done. The point is this: that if we are to challenge Starmer in his constituency, and that's what OCISA was set up for, it doesn't mean that other people can't do the same in their own constituencies. Now, Sky reported that there was talk of independent candidates standing everywhere. That is true. There's talk of that. There's talk of new national parties. There's lots of talk. OCISA was set up just to challenge Starmer, for nothing else. But we can be a model for other groups who want to fight in these by-elections and who want to stand independent socialist candidates.